Ayubon, and welcome back to your weekly talk show with me, your host, Kayla. Now, today we are continuing with part 3 of the anime series, and we are talking about ships, which is why this episode is called Shipping and Handling. Now, I really had to write out my thoughts on this, and I'm going to go through it in sequence. So I'm actually not really going to address a lot of what's happening in the chat. And here's why. This is part of the disclaimer. Full disclaimer. Full major big old disclaimer. This is the disclaimer to end all of the dis of the claimers. Ships are real. Shipping happens. We are part of ships in the fandom. We are part of armadas. We are part of full naval conglomerations. We are all shippers. I get it. Contrary to popular belief, this is not ship shaming. I'm not going to shame you for shipping the ships that you ship. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. I know that's what everyone thinks it is, but it's not. This is going to be an honest discussion. It's not a discussion because no one's talking back to me. This is going to be an honest reflection on how I view shipping in animes and particular ships, and then how fandoms and people have handled said ships, also in relation to the creative team of the actual source material. That's actually what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about an actual look at some of these ships in our favorite animes. Some of these are super popular. And here's the thing. I know you ship them. I know you ship them. I'm going to be addressing Zutara. I know you ship Zutara. You ain't gotta tell me. I've been new, my loves. I know you ship Zutara. I know you ship Kachako. I've been new. I know you ship Tododeku. Yes. Oh, we're all gonna squeal. I know people have shipped Arari and Aruri, which, in my honest opinion, those ships' names don't make sense. And I'm gonna address that too. I know. I love you all. I know. You don't have to tell me. I get that. Again, not shaming on your ship. I just want you, if you're here, you're listening to my opinion of it. That's what this is. This is Beyond the Northern Wall. This is my opinion. It doesn't reflect anyone else on core. That's fine. But it is based off of my love for these fandoms, for these animes, for these characters. So that's this huge disclaimer. I've been new. I get it. I might surprise you with some of the things that I might tell you. So, going on from there, if anyone as is like, no, shaming, refer back to the beginning of this video. So, we're gonna start with, what are we gonna say? I had to write it all down. All right. So, what is my beef with shipping? Because I do have some beef with it, with the world of shipping. My major beef with it is because as a creator myself, more than just a choreographer, more than just a dancer, more than an artist, and more than a writer even, I fully believe and love relationships. I think human relationships are probably the most complex and beautiful things out there. The way one person connects to another person, I think can be so layered and so multifaceted that it's something that requires so much study. It's why I love astrology. It's how people are and then how they connect with other people. It's why I love languages, finding out other people's love languages. It's also why I love conversation and hearing other points of view. It's why I love current affairs. It's why I love domestic affairs, international affairs. It's why I love reading books. It's why I love reading interviews of creators on the content they've created, because getting that background mindset is so amazing. There's so many different things about it. And going off of relationships, I think there's so much more to a relationship between two characters or two people than just love. That's a statement. Because we always think love conquers all. Love is everything. Love is big. Love is beautiful. Love is amazing. But there are so many other things. Love is the foundation. You're not building the whole house with just love. What an uninteresting house. You just have this really solid palette of love concrete. And you're like, cool. And it's just one layer. But there's so much more to love than that. There is trust between characters. A trust that's built over circumstances, over consequences, over perspectives. There's loyalties built over trials and tribulations. There's faith, which is the absence of trust and the loyalty, but having the trust and loyalty without any evidence or any promises of it. Faith is amazing. Faith between two characters is beautiful because that also is bred from everything, but really has no foundation. Oh, that's amazing. There are past and present. There are instances and situations. There is the individual's experiences and then their shared experiences. Relationships are so much more multifaceted than just whittling it down to, I ship these two characters together. Because you can say ship, but people automatically go towards, oh, I romantically ship these characters together. No matter what you say, you go into the world of fandoms and you say shipping and it's automatically romantic. It doesn't have to be, and it's not necessarily, ship relates to the ship in relationship. So it could be multiple things. But you know that fandoms, when they say shipping, it's romantic. And you also know that relationships don't always have to be romantic. And that's where my beef from it comes from. What I also don't like about shipping in the fandoms is shipping sometimes negates a character's complexity within themselves and within the whole overall story, as well as reduce another character into simply a love interest, even when they're not even their love interest. That gets me. We reduce characters that are main characters of their own right into just being paired with another character. And that's it. It is so rude to the complexity of that character to just become a love interest. And I'm like, that sucks. And it also creates hate towards characters. And I mean, like, hate what you hate, but hate them for the things that they actually did. Don't just make things up and then hate them for that. That's so weird. That is so stinking weird that people hate other characters. They're like, I don't ship it with that. I hate them because they got in the way of my ship. And I'm like, that's not even the point of the story. Like, the point of the story is that he wants to be Hokage. And you're like, I think you're making stuff up. So, with all that being said, let's delve into the ships. And the first and foremost on my list is, you've guessed it, Zutara. Now I'm going to throw a loop at you. I used to be a Zutara shipper. Back in the day, watching book 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, watching it air, because I was old enough then to know when airing times were. I watched book 1 air, and I watched every episode as it aired. And at the end of book 1, in the hiatus between book 1 and book 2, yeah, was I a Zutara shipper? You best believe I was. Looking up that fan art on Tumblr, looking up those stories on fanfiction.net and on MySpace and on LiveJournal. That's how old she is. She used to have a LiveJournal, y'all. That's what I was so into the Zutara ship. And then book 2 happened, and I was super excited because I was with everyone. I was like, we are in it. We are in this Avatar: The Last Airbender bubble of loving this super creative American-made show that is totally not American animation or American storytelling. Like, it was delving into really in-depth stories and really in-depth issues. But I was also like, but Zutara, like, fire and water, come on. So then book 2 happened, and I didn't focus too much on Zutara because first of all, they introduced Azula, and I was just like ShamWowed at how totally terrible she was, but like intriguing with her terror. She was off the deep end. It was insane. So I was like obsessed with her. And then Toph showed up, that took over my entire life. Toph, I was more obsessed with Toph than I was with anyone else. And then the finale for book 2 started to like have promotion on Nickelodeon, and that iconic image, there was a fan art that referred to it, that iconic image of Zuko and Katara in the crystal catacombs underneath the Earth Kingdom, where she like touches his face and she's got the water and everyone's like, oh my God, Zutara's gonna sail. And I was like, it's gonna happen. This is gonna be such an in-depth moment where Zuko and Katara are totally gonna become canon. And I sit down and I watch the finale of book 2 as this is like premiere night, and I'm watching it, and they go into the crystal catacombs and she divulges about her mom, which is such a deep-seated issue for Katara, and she's opening up because Zuko has been chasing them all over and really has just been the symbol of, first of all, the Fire Nation killed her mother, like horrible. Then the Fire Nation prince comes and tries to decimate what was the left of her village, and then attacks this kid that she found that actually she likes. I don't care what you say, Katara likes Aang. Whether she likes him romantically or not, at this point you know that's her friend. She cares very deeply about him, and Zuko's trying to capture him. She didn't like that all of book 1. He also like didn't care what happened to her or her brother who she really loves. So she's like, yeah, you chased us everywhere. You made my life a living hell. And you stole my mother's necklace and tried to use it as clout to get me to give you Aang, and you stole it and use it to track me. Like, that's all bad. She's like, you don't even understand. Like, you represent the Fire Nation that killed my mother. This is intense. She's divulging everything. Then Zuko also starts to like open up, and he's like, I have nothing to say. Like, I'm actually sorry. And I also I don't know how you feel, but I also lost my mother. So at least I understand the loss of mother. So right away, Katara's guard comes down because she hears, it's like Superman versus Batman. It's like, Martha. And they're like, mothers. I don't know what it is about dead mothers that like connect people that were like 2 seconds before mortal enemies. I don't know. Maybe it's the Disney complex of having a mother that's gone. But it's such a deep-seated thing to lose your maternal figure. So people connect on that. And so he talks about his mother. And of course, anyone who talks about their mother, you're going to have a connection with. I don't care who you are. You're going to have that connection. Because again, like I said, it's a deep thing. So she opens up to Zuko. She starts to be like, okay. And I'm like, girl, Katara, this is a credit to you because like you were mad at him. You were mad at him for so long, and like now you're opening up. And then he explains his scar, and she's like, oh, I didn't know that. That's that. And she's so empathetic. We don't give Katara much credit for her empathy, but she's so empathetic, and she thinks about it, and she's like, well, I do have this special water and I could use it to heal you. And then Aang and Iroh show up, and they're all like, Aang and Iroh are friends, and like essentially Katara and Zuko have like buried the hatchet, and so they're friends, and they're starting to make their way out of the crystal catacombs, and I'm like all for it. And then Azula shows up. And well, Iroh gets, left behind trying to protect them. So then Azula shows up, and it's Azula, Zuko, Aang, and Katara. And Azula is off the deep end, as per usual. And Katara's like, no, I'm not going to let you take Aang. And it's 3 against 1. And then the guy she just forgave for everything he did literally goes, nope, turn on you. That moment, as I was watching it, I was like, yo, I don't even care that I'm a Zutara shipper at this point. That was cold. Zuko, you butt. Like, you really got to turn on Katara after all it took for her to forgive you? I didn't care. At that moment, I was like, nope. Even Katara was like, pardon my French. She was like, bitch, what? Are you serious? After everything? Yo. So then they fight. And I was like, Katara, kick his butt. Kick his butt, girl. Kick his butt for that. That was not cool. Zuko, I don't care how much I love you. And that part too, I didn't like that a lot of people forgave Zuko right away. No, he betrayed her. He literally, like, it doesn't matter if he was telling the truth in the catacombs. It turned into a lie the minute he flipped a switch. I hate when characters flip a switch. out of nowhere. After all of the struggle he went through, he still went back. And what it did was prove that Zuko wasn't mature enough. After everything he went through, he still needed to go through more learning to become mature. Then Azula just like kills Aang. Katara is visibly upset and like escapes with Aang. And then book 2 ends. And I was like, what? That's how it ends? So then rethinking it, I was like, you know what? In this long hiatus, that hiatus between book 2 and book 3 was painfully elongated. I went back and I rewatched book 1. And I was like, let me rewatch book 1 so I can watch Zuko and Katara's relationship build. I have to sneeze. Ooh, God bless. Pardon. Thank you. I went back and I watched book 1 to watch the Zutara that I had come to love. And then I actually watched the source material. I don't care who you are. There is no Zutara build in book 1. There is no Zutara build in book 2. And it's because the creators, Brian and Mike, belovedly known as Bryke, didn't ever ship Zutara. So they didn't put it in there. So I realized as I'm watching book 1 over again and book 2, I was like, oh, I made Zutara up in my head. Completely made it up. And that was something you have to realize as a shipper. Zutara is made up. And this is why it's called shipping and handling. People were so adamant about Zutara that Bryke in interviews had to negate and be like, well, no, we actually never thought of those characters together. We actually don't know. They didn't understand where that ship came from because they didn't have moments for that with them. They're like, I think the first time they actually like talk in book 1 is when he steals her mother's necklace and then uses it to track her down, captures her, and then tries to make a deal with her to give her back her beloved mother's necklace in exchange for a whole human that he's then going to drag into the Fire Nation to present to his father in order to earn his honor back. So she was like, so you want me to give you a human? Like, I could give you a human. I'm going to give you Aang. For like, that's the first time they talked. Like, that's not romantic. That everyone's like, oh, enemies to lovers. No lovers, just enemies. At that point, they were just enemies. Which is why in Ember Island Players in book 3, they put that moment in there. Bryke put that moment in the stage play where it's like the Katara character or actress and the Zuko actor have like that moment where she's like, oh, I really wasn't into it, I was into you. And then they have the real Zuko and Katara look at each other and be like, ugh, because they're like, we literally never, that was never a thing. And it was brought up to Brian and Mike so many times and they continuously said, we don't like it. To the point where actual fans would try to negate what the actual creators were saying. I was reading interviews in preparation for this of fans doing analyses for Zutara, saying that Bryke hated on it because it was such a much more complex relationship than Katang, and they hated that it had more depth to it, and that their forced relationship of Katara and Aang didn't have much sway with the audience and the fandom as Zutara did. And I said, the balls to tell the creator that their intended creation was wrong and that your interpretation of their material was correct. Now, there are creators that have gone back and rewritten things or even said that their characters took on a new role and that they didn't follow it and they force an outcome. Par exemple, we have J.K. Rowling, where J.K. Rowling even said, like, she came back years later and said, it was like, oh, I don't think Ron and Hermione should have gotten together because the story actually didn't go there. And that was like in post, and you're like, okay, but that was when it was weird because you're like, also you're saying a lot of things in retrospect, and it's just kind of ruining everything for us. Or there's writers that have written just terrible characters. Like their writing is bad. And you're just like, okay, this writing's bad. But to actually go up to creators and tell them, well, no, what you created, it's not actually canon. What I'm interpreting from your creation, that's more canon than what you made as canon. The sheer balls. That's like someone coming up to me as a director and a choreographer and the CEO of Core and saying, I know you paired these two dancers together, but actually those two dancers have more chemistry and they should have been those characters. Or this person should have been that character over that person for this set because they would have done it better. I would have been like, first of all, what? Second of all, what a weird confidence you have to tell me what I should have done in my creative aspect of things. So it's weird that people were making these whole essays and like having Bryke see it. And that's where they got upset about it. They literally said, they're like, yeah, that's why they got upset. That's also what fueled the Mako and Korra relationship in Legend of Korra, because they're like, fine, people just wanted the firebender and the waterbender to get together. So here's Korra and Mako. Watch it not be great. Like it wasn't even a ship that they really liked, but it was pushed on them because of how much people love Zutara. And that's where I'm like, that the shipping and handling of Zutara was so rude to these great creators. Brian and Mike gave us something beautiful. We didn't appreciate it. They loved Katara and Aang together. They said it so many times, how much they loved Katara and Aang. Now, were Katara and Aang's relationship super built out? No, because Aang was going through this whole existential crisis of being the Avatar, which, yeah, that's going to take a lot of the focus. But if you actually pay attention to the series, there's more romantic nods between Katara and Aang than there ever are between Katara and Zuko. Katara visibly gets jealous on behalf of Aang when he gets too much attention from certain girls. Aang clearly likes Katara. Now, was it built smoothly? Was it the perfect love story? Was it the essential anime notebook of all animes? No, it wasn't. But it was canon. It was there. You cannot make up a ship and then get mad at the creators for a ship you made up. Just ship Zutara over there. Ship Zutara with your other Zutarans on your planet of Zutara. Go. Have at thee. Don't bother the creators and then nag at them for something that's not real. Like, don't do that. And that's my beef with the Zutara ship. Not to mention, the actual ship itself is just terrible. He tried to kill her so many times. And people are like, oh my God, he loves her. And you're like, I'm like, maybe you have issues with relationships. So that's like super toxic. Like, not good at all. I think the fact that Katara even forgave him when he came back and was like, everyone was like, you know what? Well, based off of Toph's perspective, because I mean, Toph's great and we love her. She's like, okay, bring Aang in. And Aang's capacity to forgive someone, like, for all of the crap that Zuko put in through him, Aang was like, yeah, I need a firebender teacher, and I really understand you. People didn't give Aang enough credit for that, for accepting Zuko time and time again. Through book 1, through book 2, into book 3. He literally always forgave Zuko. I was like, Aang, God, you're just, why are you so great? You're so cool, dude. And then Sokka was like, I mean, Sokka just did it. He's such an air sign. He was like, let's flow the go. So for Katara to be angry that he was there, she had every right to not like this guy. Every right. He was the embodiment of everything that she was fighting against. And then he betrayed her when she forgave him because she was the first one. So she was like, yeah. So then for him to go to the lengths to help her find the Southern Raiders and to help them. That episode didn't make Zutara for me. What it did was it created their friendship. The amount of understanding in a relationship it took for Zuko to think of her perspective. Like, what a tribute to Zuko's character development and what a tribute to Katara's character development. That Zuko had to be like, okay, Katara's not gonna trust me. So, but I gotta see it through her perspective. I can't just be like, no, like, but everyone, what can I do to really prove that I'm not going to betray her for the millionth time? And a lot of people are like, Katara was requiring too much from Zuko. He betrayed her for like the millionth time. Like 82 times before, he betrayed her. So he did have to do something great to earn her trust, because he had done nothing up until then to earn her trust. He had literally done everything up until then to destroy her trust. So helping her find the Southern Raiders and giving her that closure that she couldn't even find with Sokka, who also lost his mother, but that wasn't there for him. He didn't lose his mother in front of his own eyes like she lost her mother in front of her own eyes. It was something she couldn't share with Aang because Aang's infinite passivity towards like conflict didn't go through there, and Toph didn't have that relationship with her parents. She didn't understand that connection. So the only person she could have found that closure with was with Zuko, and that built between them a great friendship and a great understanding. So empathetic. So that hug when they come back from meeting the Southern Raiders at the end of that episode, that hug was her being like, thank you for seeing me. And I didn't think of it as romantic at all, because I was like, how can you push romance into this moment of such pure understanding between two characters that have endured so much hurt and loss and trying to find closure when they still don't have the people they want back? Like, she still doesn't, destroying that man wouldn't have brought her mother back. And Zuko knew it too. He's like, even getting angry at my father's not going to bring my mother back. So we have to be okay with this. And that understanding is so much more complex than just being like, I ship them. Like, that episode, what a credit to Zuko's building of empathy over not being an empathetic person. He was an emotional person his entire life. And that was one of the episodes that showed that his series of episodes with all of the gang showed that he had a great capacity for empathy that he learned with Iroh. So again, his individual character development, her individual character development. It was more than them together. It was them individually and then understanding. And then their fighting style found a harmony in it. Like, what a great partnership of their fighting style. Great partners in fighting doesn't mean you're just great partners. Great partners in something doesn't have to be romantic. It also has that understanding where they're two master benders weaving together. Of course, they can't hang with Aang. Of course, her best fighting partner isn't going to be Aang. I'm sorry, Aang is on a different level. She can love him and not be his perfect fighting partner because he's the Avatar. Does he need a fighting partner? No. And if he did, the only person who could meet him on that level would be Toph. But Toph doesn't need Aang. Toph doesn't need anyone. So there you go. That's my whole thing with Zutara. And that's what I mean, essentially, when I say shipping and handling. It was the handling of the fandom and how it negatively influenced the creators to the point where it kind of made them really dislike Zutara. Because after all of this beauty they give us, all the fandom did was say, but Zutara, and they're like, yeah, but like, remember when Aang had to go through this cleansing of his chakras with Guru Patik? But Zutara, remember when Zuko had this crazy conflict of good versus evil and then did this weird, crazy development that he had to do of betraying his uncle, the only man who ever loved him? Yeah, but Zutara, I would be annoyed too. I'd be like, dang, after everything I gave you, all you're going to ask about is Zutara? Y'all be rude. Y'all be rude. So that's why I don't like the handling of Zutara. It negated almost everything because shippers suck. honestly. And I say this as my own shipper. I am a shipper as well. Sometimes we suck, and we have to know that sometimes we suck. We're not great all the time. Now, moving out of Zutara, we're going to go into two ships that have a vast following. And I don't care what you say. They don't exist. I don't care what you say. They don't exist. And my proof is in the source material, in both the manga and the anime. They don't exist. You can fight me, but I'll probably win because they don't exist. And I'm talking about Kachako and Tododeku. Oh, everyone's going to hate me for the Tododeku. A lot of people are going to hate me for the Kachako, but I don't care because guess what I have on my side? The truth. And the truth is they don't exist. Now, here's what I'm saying. So many corpsmen ship Kachako, and so many comrades across the world ship Tododeku. I mean, you cannot believe how many comments in our sets. They're like, Kachako, Tododeku moment, Kachaku moment, Tododeku moment. And I'm like, dancers. Remember that part where they were dancing? Yeah, that wasn't intended at all. It was like proof when people found moments that didn't exist. I mean, the one between Rio and Rostin, that totally was on purpose. Sure, Kachako. The only time I ship Kachako is when it's literally Rostin and Rio as Bakugo and Ochako. And the only time I would ever ship Tododeku was when it was like me and JK or me and Liz. And the only time I ship Todo Momo, which I like the ship of Todo Momo. I don't think it's mutual by any means, because Todoroki doesn't have any romantic affiliation for anyone. If you actually watch the anime and read the manga, it's not in his brain. He's got way bigger things to think about. I still really only ship Todomomo when it's like me and Lauren, honestly. So, Kachako and Tododeku. The episode of Kachako, which is the sports festival episode. I love Lauren, and she's one of the biggest Kachako shippers, and I love her. And she can ship Kachako all she wants. They have good art. It's really, really stinking cute. It's cute. But I remember she texted me, and she's like, because I was like following my watching of the seasons before we made Plus Ultra, and I was like, I'm getting to the sports festival, and I would, IG story every episode I was watching and giving my reactions to it. And then she's like, you're on the Kachako episode. You're gonna understand. And I was like, I was ready to understand why her and Kai loved Kachako so much. I was ready to understand. So I watched this episode. Achako's in the sports festival. She is paired up against Bakugo. She is fighting. She's going at it. We're getting backstory. Why does she want to be a hero? Well, she wants to be a hero because she wants the money. She wants the money so she can support her family. She's so cute. But actually, there's a deeper center. She actually doesn't. Yes, she wants to be a hero for the money. But also, seeing how Deku just wants to be a hero in general, she realizes she also just loves being a hero. And I was like, Kachako. And then at the end, when she calls her parents and she just wanted to tell them she loves them, I was like, oh, baby. And then the episode ended and I went, wait, I'm pretty sure that whole episode was all character development for Kachako and had nothing to do with shipping Katsuki Bakugo with Ochako Uraraka. And it's only about Ochako's backstory and her development. She was in the frame and she was fighting Bakugo. And like there's a moment where someone was like, you didn't have to go so hard on her. And she was like weak. And Bakugo was like, what about her was weak? Cool. So that's character development for Bakugo too, because we're watching him. As we watched him in the first test that he did with his class, watching him lose that arrogant side of himself, realizing that he isn't the best, that he isn't the center, that people aren't going to treat him like he's just some prodigy. And we're watching him understand that. We're watching him slowly come to terms that he can't just, look down on people forever, that he has to start recognizing. Okay. So like where did this ship, because I saw development for Kachako, and then I saw the beginnings of the development for Bakugo, but this isn't even the first time he's acknowledged someone. Like, we watched him acknowledging Kirishima all the time and, like, reluctantly not wanting to recognize, but recognizing Deku. So, like, where? And then when do they talk again ever after that episode? Oh, at the camp in season 3, she, like, notices he can chop vegetables, like, once. And then they don't talk again. And that ship is, like, sailing. And I'm so confused. Because I'm like, what? When? Doesn't she like Deku? Doesn't Deku like her? Don't they do this thing where they, like, blush when they see each other? But Kachako? So are you guys doing that thing again where you're making something up? Oh, got it. Great. Okay, Tododeku. No. Sports festival? Sure. Super intense interaction. Toto is just trying to understand his own existence. He's just trying to come to terms with himself. And Deku is just being the Naruto and, like, helping people realize that there's greatness in them and that they're good people and that they're awesome. Like, ugh. And then Stain, I thought that was cute. I thought that Deku only texted Toto, and I was like, oh, okay, I see that's what's ship. And then I realized, and then you find out later on, no, he texted, like, he messaged the whole class, and Toto just answered it because he was, like, closest, or he was the one who was like, well, it's my dad. Like, I'm not, everyone else, if they're going to get that text and you're with your mentor, you're not going to just, like, peace out, mentor. No, you're going to be like, oh, no, I'm going to listen to it. And so Toto went. But then the Stain arc was more about Toto understanding where Ida was coming from. And it was more about Ida and then Stain's perspective, where it was showing that a villain wasn't really just a straightforward villain, that he had some valid points, but Ida was getting lost in his revenge. And then even Toto was like, no, you can't, because like, that's how I was too, bruh. Like, I totally get you, but, like, you can't let this consume you. And then Deku was like, both of you stop talking. Like, there's a guy who's attacking us. Like, so, and then after that, Todoroki and Deku don't talk, like, all of season 3. Like, almost all of season 3. Even when they go to rescue Bakugo, they barely speak. Barely. They're, like, next to each other, and they don't even address each other. Because Toto just, like, Momo talks to Toto, and then Deku is just like, Bakugo, 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 Kiri. Bakugo, 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 Bakugo. Like, so, again, I'm like, where did Tododeku come from? Literally, where did it come from? And I don't like the handling of that ship because it has infested the fandom and the convention community to the point where we have rewritten Todoroki's entire character to be obsessed and totally in love with Deku, negating anything else that identifies him. It is ridiculous. You can't see a Deku cosplayer without a Todoroki cosplayer and them just shipping each other. And any part of their identity is gone because it's just Tododeku. To the point where you have panels where all they do is they talk about Tododeku. To the point where I'm doing a set, I'm dancing on stage, and anytime I look at Deku, they're like, Tododeku! And I'm like, but also Deku's, like, doing some amazing choreography. Are you gonna address that? Or like, I don't know, anything else other than Tododeku. It starts to cloud the fandom's judgment so that they don't see anything except for Tododeku. Even the moments that are like Kiribaku, which I love that ship. I think that is a great ship. Again, I think it's more than just love. I think it's a beautiful, like whoever, like Bakugo and Kiri are going to be together forever. And like whether it's in love or just together, they're going to be together forever. They've created this bond and this understanding that reach. Oh my gosh, when Deku is like, there's only one person that Bakugo would ever let rescue him, would ever listen to. The only person he's ever acknowledged is Kirishima. I was like, this is poetry. This is beautiful. Kiribaku is so great for both those characters and such a great friendship. that can build into whatever. Like, I mean, they're gonna be together forever. They're just, I've committed to that in my brain, because it's also there, like that fact that it had to be Kiri to reach his hand out to Bakugo, and that little smile on Bakugo's face when he jumps and he grabs Kiri's hand, like that was an actual moment that actually happened. And then people are like, Todoroki is in love with Deku, and I'm like, where? When? Give me the timestamp when that happens. If you give me a timestamp equal to Kiri and Bakugo's moment of Todo and Deku, and don't tell me that it's your power, it's not that moment at the sports festival. No. That was not a Todo Deku moment. That was a Todoroki moment where someone finally let him feel okay with being himself. That was him coming into his own. That was all about Todoroki. That was about him and all of this trauma that he felt with his dad, and him realizing, I can use my fire side, because if I use my fire side, it's not my dad. This is me. This is me being me. And he said, thank you, Deku. It wasn't like, thank you, Deku. I love you. Marry me. No. It was, I'm Todoroki, and I'm hot and cold, biznatch. So I'm about to be here to be hot and cold. Your left and your right, your yes and your no, Katy Perry. What? I'm Like, that's what that moment was for. And it to be reduced to just, oh my gosh, Todoroki and Deku are in love. Yo, you just, it just, I don't know. It just, to me, it ruins it. It's a self-projected by the fan base, and it creates, in my opinion, an awkward atmosphere and expectation at cons and in our performances and in anyone else's creative output. It overshadows. It literally overshadows. That's why I don't like those ships. Because anytime those characters are on screen together, it doesn't matter what they're doing, automatically paired. And I'm like, no. Bakugo is having a moment, and it's wonderful, and I hate this guy, but he's great. Just let him have a moment. Stop shipping him with someone. Just let him, Anyway, I'm sweating. My last ship that I'm going to address. I'm going to turn on my fan. I can't breathe. The last ship that this one, for the other ones, Kachako, Tododeku, like, ship what you ship. Just don't let it negate other people's creativity, or don't let it negate the actual characters by just forcing that ship on there. Don't create a smoke screen or a filter with that. But, I mean, ship we ship. The artwork for Kachako is super cute. And, I don't know, Tododeku. I mean, Kiribaku is so much better. I don't know. To me, Kiribaku makes way more sense than Tododeku. I just don't understand the obsession with Tododeku. It's just weird. This last one is just, it's wrong. I'm going to say it. It's wrong. It's wrong in its name, and it's wrong in what it is. Ereri. First of all, Ereri is from Attack on Titan. It's supposed to be Eren and Levi. Where'd the Re come from? Oh, when people thought his name was Revi? Who's a Revi? I think you're just being kind of racist and making fun of Japanese people and how they're saying his name. Where did Ereri come from? Ereri. It sounds terrible. Ereri. It sounds constipated. So I'm gonna knock on that. And not because I love Levihan. I mean, Levi and Erwin makes way more sense than Ereri. I mean, if you've read A Choice with No Regrets, I remember watching and reading that, and I was like, oh yeah, Levi's like obsessed with Erwin. If Levi was ever going to marry someone, I think it would be Erwin. I think if Hanji was going to marry someone, it would have been Erwin. I think if Mike was going to marry someone and it wasn't Nanaba, it was Erwin. I'm pretty sure Moblet would have married Erwin if Hanji wasn't there. Like, everyone in the Survey Corps was just so focused on Erwin. So Erwin makes sense for all that stuff. But Eren and Levi, Levi is like mid-30s and Eren is 15? No, he is. He's 15. He's 15. Mid-30s and 15? No. I don't care. No, you don't get to ship that. No. I will shake my head for the next 15 minutes. No. He's 15 years old. Levi's an old man. He is my age. The thought. I'm sorry. That's wrong. No. No. Yeah, he's underage. He's not even like close to 18. He's 15. He's essentially his like student. That's weird. You guys. Yeah, I don't get that very. And then on top of that, they recreate Levi's character in their Rary fandom. So I used to troll Roston way back in the day. If he was annoying me, I would send him pictures of a Rary. I'd send him fan art of a Rary, and because he hated it. And then I stopped, because then I was like, I don't understand this ship, because it turned into a weird BDSM ship, where and then like it redid, and no shaming on BDSM. That's a whole nother thing. That's for people who can give consent and are old enough. But also, like, where did you get this character development for Levi? And then that character development followed him. People started to think of it as canon for Levi. And I'm like, no, he's not like that at all. So when I would see like discussions of like the latest chapters or like the latest episodes, and they'd find these associations in Levi that attributed to his fandom made character rather than his canon character, I was like, yo, that's not even real. Like, Levi's not that character. Levi, oh gosh, like, it ruined what Armin, Eren, and Mikasa meant to Levi, because Levi had people he loved. He had Isabel and he had Farlin, his childhood friends that he really took care of, and he saw that in the three. And so when he was eavesdropping and he accidentally eavesdropped, and he heard them talk about wanting to see the ocean, he understood that this idealism that Isabel had, this faith in him that Farlin had. And so he even said to like Hanji and Erwin, he was like, for these brats, I understand, and like that's my job. And if you've read the later chapters, spoiler alert, he even says that. He said, maybe my job was done once I got these brats to the ocean. I think my job is done. So like his actual caring for Eren hails to him trying to make amends, because his whole thing, on spoiler, Levi's whole thing is you have to make a choice and have no regrets. And that's not to say that he, like, every choice he made was never a mistake. No. He was like, if I made this choice and Petra died and my whole squad died, I can't feel regrets because I made that choice. No one made it for me. I made this choice. I put them in danger. And so now I gotta take responsibility for that. That's what his whole arc is about. So every time when he didn't choose Erwin and he chose Armin for the serum, he's like, I can't even regret that because I made that choice consciously. Every time, even when he lost Nifa for Hanji and he apologized, like Hanji knew, and Levi didn't say it like, I'm so sorry I lost you, Nifa. Levi even said, he's like, I lost your squad. Kenny killed them and I'm sorry. Or he didn't even say I'm sorry, because he knew, he's like, I bear that responsibility. So all of his caring for Eren gets again pushed aside and reconstructed into his character to be this weird submissive or like dominative character. It's like, no, that's so not Levi at all. He literally, I don't know. Again, the handling of it, it's just vastly unfair to the characters themselves. And so with all that being said, I implore you as shippers to look beyond just the shipping. Ship what you will, but like take your time and really consider it. First of all, is this ship, should it even be a ship? Because, I mean, there are some who sit on that one little rowboat of a crack ship. And I'm looking at you, JK, because JK ships Nezu and Aizawa. I mean, he's a furry. I mean, live your best furry life. Go. But he also doesn't have any disillusions about Nezu's character and Aizawa's character. He's not recreating canon characteristics in order to feed his ship. He knows who Aizawa is. So he's not really doing that. But if you ship characters, like, watch how you ship them. And if you're actually watching the material for what it is, are you making something up? Yeah, Tanjiro and Nezuko. That's weird. What? It's like when people back in the day used to cosplay or costume, like couples would like costume together for Halloween as Luke and Leia Skywalker. And I'm like, you're dumb. That's just dumb. That's not even bad shipping and handling. That's just, you didn't even care about the package. You didn't even look at the package. You just put an envelope in the package thing, where you put a package in an envelope slot and you shoved it in and you even look at it. That's not even a thing. Luke and Leia? You mean the brother and the sister? Y'all crazy. So that's what it is. I implore you to look at relationships with a little bit more of an understanding that it doesn't have to be about love. It's why the ships that I do love, I sail Levihan because, and I've said this so many times before, because it's not about them loving each other. It's not like love is a part of it, but it goes deeper than that. Their understanding, their shared trauma, their need to know that they can't do this thing without each other because they're all they have left. Like, understanding and knowing the Levihan ship is so much more than a romantic relationship. It is a true partnership. It really is. So, like, stuff like that, those are the ships that I love. And then, I mean, look at it. There's other ships that I could go across. I know we don't like canon ships. There are some times where canon ships kind of don't make sense. Like, I get it. Ichigo and Orihime, that was kind of out of left field. But it doesn't negate what the actual beauty is of Rukia's relationship with Ichigo. Like, that was a great and beautiful thing. Or maybe ship canon relationships. Like, go watch a romance anime and go ship the romance part of it. Don't just make up romance where there is none. This is just annoying. And it negates actual development and story. Like, y'all read books, right? Y'all read books. And you love when characters have, like, you want real friends to enemies, go find a story that's enemies to friends, friends to enemies, whatever you have you. Go find the childhood friend trope. Go find those tropes. Don't just make them up and shove them in places where they don't belong. Because it ruins it for everyone else. And it ruins it, honestly, you have to consider these creators hear this. And it is how disheartening it is to hear that your characters are just being so misinterpreted or misused. And we think they're never going to hear this. I beg to differ. Every creator hears everything about their creation. And you got to remember, this is something they love. This is their baby. This is their child. They gave everything to this story, this manga, this anime, this book, this movie, this television show. They gave everything to it. And so handle with care. In your shipping and handling, handle with care. And that's not a great tagline to this entire series. I don't know what isn't. Anyway, there's so much more I could say, but we're running out of time and I'm sweating. So, all that being said, thank you for listening to my tirade, but also I hope you actually listen to my words and rather than just the impassion behind it. I know some people are like, too passionate, and then they tune it out, but please don't tune it out. Anyways, this Friday, no, not this Friday, tomorrow. I had a friend named Tomorrow in high school. Her name was Tomorrow, her last name was Day. I am not making that up. She was the coolest human being ever. Her name was Tomorrow Day. Anyways, to my friend in high school, Tomorrow Day, we are having a special Pop Shop episode with our very own, I'm on the wrong side, Neefer. It's weird, I call her Neefer. Her name's Nifa. Well, her name's Sammy. Who calls her Sammy? Ain't nobody call her that. Nifa will be holding another pop shop. She will be selling off all of the samples that we created of the resin art. So this is the last time you're going to see like those earrings. It's the last time you're going to see that Sailor Moon charm available in that way. We're not bringing them back. Or if we are bringing them back, they're not going to be sold in that same individual fashion. So The only time you can get these last individual charms will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Pop Shop Live. Pop Shop is an app on your phone. If you have an app on your phone, look at my phone. Look at that wonderful guy. He's on my phone. You're going to go on your phone. Pop Shop app. You're going to see it. There it is. Right there. See Pop Shop? Click on it. Ba-boom! Pop Shop Live. Look at her. She's right there when you open it up. It is going to go live. She's going to sell it only during the show. She's also going to possibly sell some other things. Not the leggings, because we have to get rid of these sample sale items, because on February 1st, we're bringing some brand new merchandise. Brand new merchandise into the shop. So tomorrow, this is the last time you can get this shenanigans. And Nifa's just, I mean, in general, Nifa's great to watch sell things because she's great. It's okay, Jenna. You don't have to buy anything. I'm going to say this now. You don't have to buy anything. But help us by sharing. Share this promotion. It is on our Instagram and it is on our Facebook. Help spread the word. Support small businesses. After Thursday, on Friday, we are having another Improve Your Improv. And I'm so excited because I finally, you guys, I made the cut. Oh my God. Who's that? Who's that? Who is? Who that? That's me. I finally made the cut. I'm finally going to be on Improve Your Improv with my bro TP on Instagram this Friday at 7. It's going to be fun. And I say that because I've done a lot of, majority of my industry gigs have been freestyling gigs, either go-go dancing or freestyling. And so it's going to be really fun to kind of incorporate that into Improve Your Improv because it's very different than what the freestyling we do on Core. So I hope you can tune in on Instagram, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, once again. And of course, if you're not following us on Twitch, it's awesome. Because on Twitch, we've been having some Twitch game nights, like playing Among Us. There might be a very, very cool exclusive for patrons only in regards to an Among Us game. So if you're a patron, I'm excited. If you're not a patron, you should join us. They have garlic bread. I can't have garlic bread, so I'm trying not to eat too much bread. So just the garlic. Thank you. And the butter. I'll take that. Anyways, join us on Patreon. $2 a month just to join us on Patreon. To our lovely patrons, thank you forever for always supporting us. I'm excited for this month's exclusive because it's going to be super fun. If you're not following us on Twitch, it's the Core DC. I totally had a promo for it and I forgot to add it on here. So you're going to see it on our Instagram. The Core DC. It's not the Core Dance Crew. It's the Core DC, just like our Twitter. We have a Twitter. Who knew? We have a Twitter. The Core, CORPS, DC on Twitch. Follow us there. Go watch our Among Us and go watch everyone accuse me for no reason. I get too much into Among Us. Everyone else is better at lying. I'm terrible at it. I think it's mean how everyone just assumes I did something wrong. But also it's funny to just watch Rio kind of run around. It's great to watch Joseph not ever be the imposter. And it's kind of terrifying to watch Nifa just kind of stalk us all like a serial killer. So go join us on Twitch and watch us all be terrified in the comfort of our homes. All that being said, also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. We have more videos coming out. We actually have a really fun video coming out tomorrow. It's like a lost in the archives video. It's from the vault. I don't think anyone's seen this. Y'all, the comrades were like, Kayla sus. And I was mad because I was like, I didn't do anything. Why do even the comrades are like sus? I'm literally just trying to figure out this light thing that Manager San couldn't figure out. Manager San understands me. He's in the same boat as me. Also, Lotus be having your back, and then all of a sudden, he just switching loyalties. I don't know about that kid. I love him, but he pushing that love. Anyways, make sure that you follow us on YouTube. There is a new video coming out for that one time I was reincarnated as a throwback. I made the title. I don't even remember it. But we have a lot of stuff coming out of the vault. I opened up my old laptop and I found a lot of videos, and it's amazing. You ever watch old stuff and you're like, oh, that was good? I had that moment like 82 times. Anyways, y'all have a good night. It was inauguration day, so we should all be celebrating. I'm going to go celebrate right now because, yo, we got a new president and we got a new Madam VP. And I'm so excited because it's Biden time. That's a good cup of joe right there. Madam President. Madam President. Madam President. Yeah, I'm saying Madam President because she is going to be Madam President. Madam President. Also, if you haven't seen the way that Joe Biden has decorated the Oval Office, go check it out. Like, he's such a kid. It's great. He has his figurines. He has like the butt. Just go check it out. It's great. Anyways, go celebrate Inauguration Day. It's been awesome. Hands out. Call it out with me. Sotomato on 3. Ship and handle with care. 1, 2, 3. Sotomato. Peace out. A-Town down.